I can tell you this, if I'm here, I will talk to you at any point in time, even take tough questions. Sherrod Brown won't do that. And again, that should tell you some things. And again, didn't we see that with Biden? They kept him in a cocoon. They kept him in the basement, refused to take questions. Even the White House has said the press conference today is the big boy press conference. Think about that for a second. That's insane. If you can't come out here and address the media and talk to reporters and give your position and be unequivocal and clear, you have no business being in elected office. And I think that's what generationally we got to get rid of, is these guys that hide behind staff, hide behind their offices, Zoom from one meeting to another so that they're not accountable. Those days have got to be over. You need people that are clear and transparent, tell people where they stand. And sometimes, by the way, it means that you're going to be controversial and you're going to say something that maybe not everybody agrees on, but that's what you owe your voters.
You said earlier this week that you support some restrictions on abortions after 15 weeks. Do you think that contradicts what the party's new platform and new position is on this issue overall?
Look, we're not here to talk about abortion. My position is crystal clear, has not changed on abortion. You're going to see the Democrats pull out everything they've got to try to change the subject. Let me just restate this again. You have somebody at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that is incapable, does not have the mental acumen to complete his duties. We've never been in this situation as a country in modern American history. And it was covered up by the Democrats like Sherrod Brown.
That was Republican Senate candidate in Ohio, Bernie Moreno, who's running against Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown, grandstanding for a full 60 seconds about how, if he's elected to office, you won't see him skirt the tough questions and avoid reporters. No more hiding, no more unaccountability. Those days are over. Even if, by the way, that means being controversial, but that's what you owe the voters. And then the very first question he's asked after this whole soapbox routine is a very basic question asking about his comments regarding abortion restrictions even before 15 weeks. And this dude has the audacity, after voluntarily parading around his vows to be open and transparent and honest, to say, we're not here to talk about abortion. And look, first of all, what this shows is simple. While Bernie Moreno tries to position himself as a different kind of politician, in effect, he's exactly the same, if not worse. Claiming to be different, only to then expose yourself as being exactly the same, is the quintessential politician move. So if you want a run-of-the-mill, evasive, self-serving liar who claims to be a savior, have I got the candidate for you? And look, of course he's not interested in speaking about abortion, because his position on abortion is abhorrent. Bernie Moreno argued for national legislation banning abortion after 15 weeks and has described himself as 100% pro-life without exceptions, which is quite the position in a state like Ohio, where even there, 57% of voters approved a constitutional amendment enshrining abortion rights into the state's constitution. And by the way, that was after Ohio Republicans tried to undermine the ability of voters to do so by attempting to raise the threshold for constitutional amendments from a simple majority to 60%, in which they were also unsuccessful. In other words, Ohio voters' preferences are abundantly clear, and they are not represented well in the slightest by someone who calls himself 100% pro-life without exceptions. All of which should underscore the danger of Bernie Moreno. So while we know the message, if we want to help Ohioans hear it, I'll put a link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video to donate to Sherrod Brown and ensure that Ohio voters know what's at stake in this election. And to be clear, it's not just Bernie Moreno in Ohio. Republicans across the country, from Wisconsin to Nevada to Arizona, are running on anti-abortion platforms. And it comes after voters have made their feelings abundantly known. Ever since Dobbs was handed down, voters have rejected anti-choice Republicans, even in the reddest of states, from Alabama to Kansas to Ohio to Virginia to Kentucky. But Republicans clearly aren't interested in what voters want. They're just focused on imposing their theocratic ideology onto people. This isn't about representing their constituents' interests, it's about shoving their own interests onto their constituents. And it comes from the top. Remember, while Donald Trump may try to moderate his extreme positions, let's not forget who is wholly and proudly responsible for Dobbs in the first place.
Especially since I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended. Roe v. Wade. They wanted it ended.
51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. President Trump is going to make a determination what he thinks is great for the country and what's fair for the country. But the fact that I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade after 50 years of trying, they worked for 50 years. I've never seen anything like it. They worked, and I was so honored to have done it. Well, I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade. And by doing that, it put pro-lifers in a very strong negotiating position. Nobody did a job like I did, including Roe v. Wade, bringing it back to the states. What I did by killing Roe v. Wade, which everyone said was impossible.
So the question becomes, does that guy sound like someone who wouldn't sign a national abortion ban if and when it's introduced in Congress? Which, by the way, a bill was already introduced in Congress to ban abortion nationwide, even in this term, and that's with Joe Biden as president. And if Trump would sign it, you think his little minions like Bernie Moreno wouldn't blindly follow along and do whatever the cult leader tells them to do? Let's be perfectly clear. These people are not interested in what position is popular because the popular position is Roe. That's what they would be advocating for if they were interested in the popular position. But instead, they're insisting that 15-week bans and 12-week bans and 6-week bans are what we need. Again, they are not responsive to Americans. They are solely focused on handing down edicts. This is about power and it's about control. So look, with regard to Biden, I understand that the future here is uncertain. I haven't a clue what next week or the week after will hold, but whether it's Biden or Kamala or anyone else on the left, our message remains exactly the same. If Donald Trump wins, you will lose what few rights you have as they relate to abortion. It is as simple as that. They will 100% sign a national abortion ban. That means that even if you live in New York or California or Vermont, a national abortion ban means a national abortion ban. That is what this election's about. That is what the election is a referendum on. We are not voting to punish Joe Biden because of this debate performance, because that would mean that this election is about him, and it's not. It's about us. It's about our rights and our bodies and our freedoms. That's what's on the ballot in November. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.